Let's focus a little bit here on UFC 284. Volkanovski and Makhachev going head-to-head. And Makhachev here, minus 365 favorite. So people expecting him to be dominant in this fight. But we all know, expect the unexpected at times when it comes to this sport.
Most of the time in the UFC.
Yes. So what would it take on either end for one of those guys to get the job done?
Well, when you think about this, you have the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world fighting the #2 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Both are world champions. This has never happened in UFC history. It definitely never happens in boxing. They never make the big fights when they should, when guys are in their prime and at their best. The way I see this fight going is if Makhachev can come out and get that takedown immediately, it probably doesn't look good for Volk, unless Volk can pop right back up. But if Volk can stop the takedown and keep it standing, it's a very interesting fight.
Okay. In the co-main, Yair Rodriguez, not quite as big a favorite, but still a minus 165 price at DraftKings Sportsbook, taking on Josh Emmett. Similar question for the two of them on each side. What's it going to take? Yeah,
I see this fight closer to even. Josh Emmett is an absolute stud, man. Guy's got knockout power. He's durable. I don't see that as a minus 165 fight.
Oh,
I think that fight's a pick'em.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's just so interesting with some of these fighters, and it's cool too the way that UFC has embraced the sports betting side of things, and you can bet different rounds, or the way that a fight's going to go down. For those types of situations, is it a knockout type of a thing? Is there an edge for a draw? And how do you view things like that? Yeah,
I think if you look at the Makhachev fight, you have to be thinking Makhachev should be a big favorite for a submission. He just submitted Charles Oliveira, who's one of the greatest submission guys in the game. And then for Volk, if he can keep it standing, you gotta like Volk for a knockout if he can keep it on the feet. And then you gotta like Emmett with the knockout, and you gotta like Yair possibly by sub.
It's also situational, lots of fun. There has been a lot of talk recently about Conor McGregor and his return in the coaching game, for Ultimate Fighter, but him and Michael Chandler coaching against one another. How good is it for the sport to have him back involved?
Yeah, it's always, when you have a massive superstar, that comes back, like Conor McGregor, like Jon Jones, I mean, it just pumps energy and excitement into the sport. People get fired up. And to have these two coaching the Ultimate Fighter, and the first time we've ever been on ESPN, the network, because it's always been on Plus. So it not only gets everybody excited, but it makes the fight even that much bigger.
How has that relationship with ESPN been, and just continuing to get UFC in more and more households nationwide? Yeah,
it's been great. They've been great partners to us, and the relationship has been very mutual. We've brought tons of subscribers to ESPN Plus, and they've been great to us.
Michael Chandler wants to go with Conor. How's that progressing potentially with those two?
Yeah, I think there's a level of respect between these two, but the fight itself will be absolutely violent. Absolutely violent.
I love all the trash talk. I mean, not necessarily trash talk, but like, I want him at his best, it's really fun the way they go at each other, even away from the octagon.
Well, they're both fun guys. I mean, I've had a great relationship with Conor through his career, but Chandler's a great guy too. I love Chandler. So two really good guys. I think there's a level of respect there, but you'll definitely hear some trash talking.
Yeah, and you mentioned Jon Jones, of course, arguably one of the best ever to do it, and the impact that you've seen with him making his return as well. We haven't seen him since 2020.
Right. This is a big fight for him and for Cyril Gane. It's funny because this fight at heavyweight is better than the original fight that everybody thought they were going to get with Francis. Jon Jones was the favorite in the Francis fight. And this fight, Cyril Gane is the favorite. So for Jon Jones and his legacy, if he can go in there against Cyril Gane, who, is absolutely a heavyweight but moves like a middleweight and is the favorite in the fight, and Jon Jones can win this fight, it's just so huge for his legacy. And if you don't like Jon Jones or whatever your deal is with Jon Jones, you cannot deny if he wins this heavyweight fight, that he's the greatest of all time.
Absolutely. We are here at the Super Bowl in Phoenix, Arizona. Super Bowl next year is going to be at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. You got pay-per-view plans on the mind? Are the wheels turning already?
Not yet, but obviously, you know, I know that's coming up, but it would be a no-brainer for us to do a fight on Saturday night and then the Super Bowl on Sunday.
I know we're both, you know, huge Vegas people.
Yep.
How special is that to know the biggest game in the NFL is going to be in your city?
Well, you know, you went through this too. Growing up in Vegas, you never dreamed that the Super Bowl would be in Vegas, you know. So for it to be there now and for our town to be as big of a sports town as it is now, I mean, I always knew it could be. Back in the day, you know, the level that UNLV basketball was at, you know, in the late 80s, early 90s, I mean, the whole city embraced it. So when you think about it, really is a sports town with lots of sports people. Plus, it's the place where all sports fans want to go, you know, during March Madness, the Super Bowl, whatever it might be. And if your team is playing in Vegas, that's the away game you're going to go to. It's just Vegas is such a no-brainer for all of sports.
No, I wish that we had more time. I feel like I have 8 million more questions for you, but thank you so much for doing this. And yeah, next year, I know we're all focused on what's happening coming up Saturday and Sunday, but next year is where I'm already looking
for us Vegas people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.